Hello there, it's Mr. CompSci back again for another video. What we're going to do today is look at the CodeHS problem 8.2.7 and 8.2.8. My code has been fully written, I think. So what I'm going to do is really focus in on what I've written and why. So what this exercise is asking you to do, if I bring up the assignment for a second, it's asking you to write the method static in sum row. And we're going to take an array as the first argument, and we're going to take the row as the second argument. And we're going to use that row number to look in the array and add up all of the values in that array. Okay, so this is going to require you to traverse each row in the array. So we have basically we have two methods here, or two classes. Let's go here. So we have the main method here, which is going to be doing the row by row, and then we have the sum row method, which is doing just a one row. It's printing out this particular row here. So that's the row that we're going to be using to print out. And in our main, all we're going to be doing is using a for loop to increase the number of the row and just feed that into our method, sum row. So this section you'll probably write second, I would imagine. I usually start with my method first. I don't even think about this stuff up here. I first will start there. So I think that's a good way to start. I'll focus and zoom in on sum row. Okay, so hopefully you can see that clearly. That's the solution if you're looking for the solution. But let's talk about why it is this way. I start with a sum because the whole purpose is to return an integer. Okay, I'm going to return an integer. This is my result of the sum. Now I'm going to go to this row in this array. Okay, so forget whatever is up here. Don't even worry about it. I know that they're called the same thing. They're not related. This doesn't refer to anything here. Everything in the method here is self-contained. Whatever variables exist here, that's all you should really worry about. So I'm talking about this array here and this row. So I go through the array and I'm going to start with column. So I'm going from column 0 all the way to whatever the length is of that row. And notice here I use the number row to judge how long the row is, because often what we do is we write here 0, right? Meaning the first row length. But in the case of you have an array, or a 2D array with different length or different numbers of columns, then you're going to be in trouble because it's not going to work. This only works as a 0 if all of the columns, you have the same number of columns in each row. But in our case, we want to use row so that we're actually saying how long is this row. Let's go from 0 all the way to the length minus 1 of the row. So we are going through this column by column and we're going to add that to the sum. That's the purpose of the for loop. At the end, we return that sum and we get an integer back, which is going to be used. Okay, so that's the theory of that one. The for loop here is going through each row one by one, and it's going to put that row number and the array up here. Now we're referring to this array and that's going to go into sum row and be used. And sum row is going to return the result, which is going to be an integer. So this whole thing would be replaced with the integer and all printed out. So let's look at it working. Okay, and so it's going to generate 144. So it's basically adding up all of these numbers here. Then it's adding up all of these to get 889. and then all of these to get 65,010. Okay, and we check the code. It seems to all work. Yep. Okay, so that's that.